Picture this. You're enjoying a cup of coffee when suddenly Earth decides to take a break and stop spinning. Unlikely, but what would happen? To understand this, let's take a quick spin on why Earth's rotation is so vital. Our planet twirls around on its axis once every 24 hours, creating the cycle of day and night that we're so accustomed to. This spinning action also impacts gravity, weather patterns, and even shape of the Earth itself. Now imagine if all that came to a screeching halt. Earth, in its infinite wisdom, decides to play hooky and stops spinning. This isn't some sci-fi movie plot, but a thought experiment that scientists have pondered over for years. And they're downright cataclysmic, but don't worry, we're not here to scare you, just to tickle your curiosity. Buckle up as we dive into this dizzying possibility. If you found concept intriguing, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more astonishing explorations into the realm of what if. First things first, gravity. It wouldn't be your best friend anymore. Now you might be wondering, what on earth does the planet's rotation have to do with gravity? Well, it's a lot more than you might think. You see, Earth isn't a perfect sphere. It's more of an oblate spheroid, which is just a fancy way of saying it's slightly wider at the equator. This bulge is due to the centrifugal force caused by the Earth's rotation. That's right, the same force that keeps your laundry stuck to the sides of the washing machine during the spin cycle also keeps us a tad lighter on our feet at the equator. Now let's say the Earth suddenly decided to take a break from its never-ending pirouette. The centrifugal force would cease, causing gravity to pull everything straight towards the center of the Earth. The result? We'd all feel a little heavier. In fact, if you were standing at the equator when the Earth stopped spinning, you'd instantly weigh around 1% more. But it's not just our waistlines that would suffer. Gravity is responsible for keeping everything from skyscrapers to pebbles firmly rooted to the ground. Imagine the chaos if everything suddenly got a lot heavier. Buildings might collapse under their own weight, and even a simple task like lifting a coffee cup could become a workout. Oh, and let's not forget about the oceans. Without the centrifugal force to counteract gravity, the water would be pulled towards the poles, leaving the equatorial regions high and dry. And before you ask, no, you wouldn't be able to just jump off the Earth into space. Even with the changes, Earth's gravity would still be far too strong for a human to overcome without a rocket. Sorry to burst that bubble. So there you have it. If the Earth stopped spinning, gravity would reign supreme, and life as we know it would drastically change. Imagine stepping on the scale and seeing your weight skyrocket. Talk about a bad day. If you thought hurricanes were bad, wait till you hear about superstorms. First off, let's make one thing crystal clear. We're not talking about your average thunderstorm. We're talking about storms of biblical proportions, the kind that would make Noah's flood look like a Sunday picnic. These would be born from the extreme differences in atmospheric pressure that would result when the Earth stops spinning. To put it simply, as the Earth spins, it creates a balance in atmospheric pressure. Some areas have high pressure, others have low pressure, and the constant movement creates our weather systems. But if the Earth stopped spinning, that balance would be thrown out of whack. Big time. You see, without the Earth's spin to mix things up, areas of high pressure and low pressure would become fixed. This would lead to massive, unending storms in some areas and bone-dry deserts in others. And when we say massive, we're not talking about a little extra rain. We're talking about superstorms with winds that could flatten cities. But that's not all. These superstorms would also cause massive waves in our oceans, leading to floods of an unimaginable scale. The kind of floods that could wipe out entire coastlines. And let's not forget about the lightning. With all that energy in the atmosphere, we'd likely see lightning storms that could set entire forests ablaze. And then, there's the cold. Without the Earth's spin to distribute heat evenly, some areas would become freezing cold, while others would become scorchingly hot. This would not only make life incredibly uncomfortable, but it could also lead to the extinction of many species unable to adapt to these extreme conditions. So if you thought your local weather was unpredictable now, just wait until Earth takes a day off. Love sunbathing? Well, you might want to invest in some good thermal underwear. That's right, folks. If the Earth were to stop spinning, you can bid farewell to your favorite beach holidays and say hello to drastically different climates. Now, imagine this. One side of our planet perpetually basking in the sun's glow, while the other half is plunged into eternal darkness. Sounds like a science fiction plot, doesn't it? However, if our Earth stopped rotating, that's exactly what would happen. On the sunny side, the constant exposure to the sun would superheat the atmosphere, leading to extreme temperatures that would make the Sahara Desert seem like a cool summer day. The intense heat would cause the oceans to evaporate, creating a thick, steamy atmosphere. Underneath this atmospheric pressure cooker, any form of life as we know it would struggle to survive. Switch over to the dark side and it's a completely different story. Without the warming rays of the sun, temperatures would plummet, turning the landscape into a frozen wasteland. Oceans would freeze over, and any life that managed to hang on would have to adapt to a world without sunlight. This perpetual day-night divide would also result in some dramatic weather patterns. The hot air on the sunny side would rise, creating an area of low pressure. Meanwhile, the cold air on the dark side would sink, creating an area of high pressure. This difference in pressure would create intense winds, whipping across the Earth at hurricane speeds. In addition, the lack of a day-night cycle would interfere with the biological rhythms of plants and animals. Our sleep cycles, known as circadian rhythms, would be thrown off kilter, leading to a whole host of health issues. So, what does this all mean for your tan lines? Well, unless you fancy a tan that comes with a side of extreme heat, or a chill that makes the Arctic seem like a tropical paradise, you might want to reconsider that sunbathing session. So, half the Earth becomes a frozen wasteland, while the other half is a boiling hot mess. And you thought choosing your vacation spot was hard now. Lastly, let's talk about Earth's shape. Spoiler alert, it's not going to stay round. Right now our planet is an oblate spheroid, which is a fancy way of saying it's sort of like a squashed ball. It's wider at the equator than at the poles. Why is that? Well, the answer is simple. It's because of our planet's rotation. Just imagine spinning a ball of dough in your hands. It naturally starts to flatten in the middle and bulge at the sides, right? That's exactly what's happening with Earth. The centrifugal force caused by our planet's spin is what gives Earth its distinctive, shall we say, love handles. But what if our planet stopped spinning? Well, things would get a little weird. Without the centrifugal force from the rotation, gravity would take over completely. And gravity, being the rather insistent force that it is, would start pulling everything towards the center. So, over time, our lovely oblate spheroid would start to become more spherical. The equator would start to shrink, and the poles would start to flatten out. This wouldn't happen overnight, of course. We're talking about a process that would take millions of years. But the end result would be a planet that's more of a perfect sphere, rather than the squashed ball shape we're used to. And that's not even mentioning the dramatic effect this would have on our planet's geography. Mountains would be pulled down, oceans would be pulled in, and the entire face of the planet would be reshaped. Now, we're not suggesting that anyone try to stop the Earth from spinning. That's way beyond our pay grade. But it's interesting to think about how something as seemingly simple as rotation can have such a profound effect on our planet's shape. So, Earth goes from a pretty round planet to a squished out pancake. Talk about a bad hair day for Mother Earth. So, in conclusion, if the Earth stopped spinning, we'd be in for a wild ride. Picture this. Gravity would play a game of tug of war, creating a giant bulge around the equator and making us all feel as if we're on the edge of a cliff. Then, the weather would go bonkers, with hurricanes becoming the norm rather than the exception. And if you think your tan lines are bad now, just imagine a world where one side is perpetually bathed in sunlight, while the other is plunged into eternal darkness. Yes, folks, our planet's rotation is more than just a cosmic ballet. It's the rhythm that keeps life as we know it dancing along. It's the beat that sets the stage for our daily routines, our seasons, and our very existence. So, next time you're feeling dizzy, spare a thought for our hard-working planet. After all, it's been spinning non-stop for over 4 billion years.